IVM.
Hey, it's been another great week on IVM. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On Cyrus Says this week, we have Satyanshu Singh, filmmaker, writer, and head of content development for AIB First Draft. His journey from doctor to writer is a fascinating one. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit is joined by Pranay Kotastane and Hamsini to decode Pakistan's experiences with democracy. On Keeping It Queer this week, Naveen speaks to Parmesh Sahani, author and head of the Godrej India Culture Lab. Hustle Science marks its season finale with fitness YouTuber Abhinav Mahajan. And on Geek Fruit, Tejas and Jishnu give you the greatest hits from this year's San Diego Comic Con. It's time for you to catch the third story from Croc Tales with Anand Sivakumaran. This one is called Freddy Ki Fiat Ho Gayi Flat. And now, onto your shows.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of IVM Likes. I'm Surbhi and today we have with us in the studio Alika.
Hi.
I'm really excited because she doesn't come here often. So Alika is here with us and Abbas.
Hi, hello.
And it's me, Surbhi. So today we are talking about some of the stuff that we've been looking at and listening to, and we think you should also check it out. And also in the second half, we're talking about our favorite badass women in animation. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Stay tuned for that. Moving on to the recommendations. Alika, what are you watching or listening to?
Yes, right up to bat. So I recently, well actually it's not very recent, but I came across this graphic novel not too long ago called Persepolis. It's a graphic autobiography by Marjan Satrapi.
Yeah.
And she's a French-Iranian or maybe Iranian-French. I don't know which way it goes. But she's written an autobiography of herself in graphic novel form about her life in Iran during and after the Islamic Revolution, and then her when she went to Austria to study and her experiences there and her return to Iran. It's a great graphic novel. It's split up into two parts. It was originally published in French around, I think, 2000 and 2003, and it's been translated into a whole bunch of languages since then. It was also made into an animated film and nominated for the Academy Award back in 2007.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it's a very simple-looking graphic novel. It's like completely black and white. There are no colors in it. Very simple, very stark cartoon style almost. Like, you know, the eyes are just dots and things like that. And it's very beautiful because of its simplicity, because it brings forth that much more raw emotion through those images, which is like it's a very big selling point for me because I'm a very visual person. So...
Is this... so I've heard there's a movie based on the graphic novel also. Have you seen the movie?
I have not seen it, but the animated film was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Back in 2007.
Yeah.
So it basically talks about a life growing up in Iran during like Reza Shah's regime, and then once he was overthrown and the Islamic Revolution started happening. And in the beginning, it's like, you know, from the perspective of a 10-year-old Marji. And you see her, you know, she's kind of dimly aware of things, and then how she starts becoming more and more aware because her parents are very politically active, and they try to, you know, teach her that, you know, these are things you can't do anymore, and these are things you can. And as she grows up, you see her rebellious side come out. Now she wants to listen to punk music and wear all these fancy American clothes and buy Nike sneakers and things like that. And these things are now, as the Islamic Revolution gained momentum, it started being frowned upon. Like, they had to wear the burqa more religiously. They had to, you know, not mingle with the men and women. And these were restrictions that you see her trying to navigate through. And also then after that there was the Iraq War. And how in the wake of like bombings and stuff, how her life was being upturned quite a bit. So there, I guess there's a little bit of spoiler stuff in here, but it's all good. You should still read it.
Yeah.
But there is a point like where a bomb hits her street, and while none of her family is injured, there are people who are nearby, near and dear to her, who are injured. And this takes a very big toll on her mentally as well. And her parents also, obviously, they start feeling pretty upset by this. So the first book ends with them sending her to Austria
Yeah.
to continue her studies. I actually enjoyed the second book far more.
Yeah, I feel like that's her also the adolescence and everything, like how she
Yes.
becomes her. Yeah, that's. I feel the whole. I've also read the book and I really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the second book is really great because it's a lot of her coming to terms with her identity. So the culture shock she goes through when she reaches Austria, and how she's trying to, become part of the gangs in
Yeah.
school, and trying to be like them, and then
That's
she
true.
also wants to keep true to her traditions and her roots, and there's that disconnect between feeling like, I'm kind of not really part of this, but I'm trying really
Yeah.
hard, but I don't really understand what's happening. And it's very poignantly described, and you feel for her. You feel that I feel like such a fish out of water.
Yeah.
What am I doing? And then
Yeah.
there are like some experiments which she does with sex and drugs because she wants to be part of them, and there's a point where she has to live on the road for 2 months, and it's pretty terrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the book starts midway. She returns back to Iran, and at this point, she feels like she doesn't really belong in Iran either, because now she has been slightly westernized to some
Yeah.
degree, and the restrictions there don't suit her at all. And it's a very, very touching book on how one is coming to terms with your identity and trying to figure out where do I belong,
Yes.
what do I do. It's a really good graphic novel. I highly recommend it.
That's great. It's called Persepolis again.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
called Persepolis.
Yeah, guys, you should check this out. Also, there's a movie, there's an animated movie based on the same book, which I don't know. I feel like I like them equally. Like, there's no the book is better or the movie is better debate, because the movie is also really cool. So you guys should check it out. Thank you, Alika.
Yeah.
Moving on to Abbas. What is up? What have
Hey,
you been
hi.
watching?
I haven't been watching much, but I have been listening a lot.
Wow.
And that's why I'm recommending a podcast today. The podcast I'm recommending today is called Clear and Vivid. It's written as Clear plus Vivid with Alan Alda. Alan Alda, for those who don't know, you must have seen him in something or the other, because he's been acting in movies and television since the 50s. He was in MASH, he was in The Aviator, he was on The West Wing, he is in a bunch of Woody Allen films, and he has a very distinctive voice. So even if you hear him, you'll recognize him. So the idea behind the podcast is essentially Alan Alda wants to make people communicate better with other people, and wants to explore the idea that if someone has different viewpoint from you, you don't have to necessarily go away from them. You can still have a meaningful and constructive conversation with them. So he gets people from various walks of life on his show, and he talks to them about, these are usually people who are either entertainers or public speakers, or it involves them reaching out to people. So he tries to get behind what's the crux of speaking to people, communicating with people, getting to know people, and taking something away from it. So the first episode, my entry point to this show was his episode with Sarah Silverman. More so because Sarah Silverman now has her own show on Hulu, which is called I Love You America, which is basically her going into these areas which primarily voted for Trump. So these are people who have almost nothing in common with her political beliefs and her viewpoints.
Yeah.
And he talks to her about how she goes about dealing with such people. And Sarah Silverman talks about that, a few minutes into the conversation, you will eventually find a common ground with these people. And despite the political differences, you still can take away something from them. But she also talks about the fact that how the American right has the kind of stuff they used to oppose when Obama was president, how they use the same things to defend themselves.
Oh, God.
So when it comes to those kind of things, you don't really have to. It's not your obligation to be polite all the time. You can still be firm and put your point across. He talks about how she uses the art of communication for comedy. He talks about how he uses it for acting, and in his case, Alan Alda has to portray someone else. He has to get in the skin of another character. So it's a very interesting conversation of a comedian putting herself out there and an actor actually hiding behind someone else's life and still portraying something. So yeah, it's a very interesting.
That sounds interesting.
It's a very interesting concept for a podcast. The interesting thing about the podcast is, even though it's about public speaking or communicating with people, it doesn't sound like a self-help podcast.
It's not like a TED Talk.
It's not like a tech talk. It's a genuine conversation. It's a heartfelt conversation, and that's what I like about it. So that's my recommendation. Clear
Do you
Plus.
have any other guests on it?
They do. He had Judge Judy for an episode.
Wow, Judge Judy is a fun guest to have.
He had this very famous cello player called Isaac Perlman who played the theme for Schindler's List. He was on one of the episodes. Sarah Silverman, like I said. So yeah, very few episodes out till now. It's a fairly new podcast. He also had this author called Kate Bowler on the show. But the Sarah Silverman episode is pretty good, so check that out.
So people who are listening to it for the first time, they can start from the Sarah
Silverman episode, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Abbas. This was called, what was it called again?
It's called Clear Plus Vivid with Alan Alda.
Awesome. Also, so what I have been watching, not a lot of TV. I feel like I'm going back to the YouTube space again. Do you ever feel this? Like, I feel like, so I had this phase when I would only watch shows that are half an hour long. And now I can't even, my attention span is going, it's going worse and worse. Now I can only watch 2-minute videos or a 3-minute video, and that's it. I'm done for the day.
I feel you, but I feel like that's more because I don't get much time to watch anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But this new channel on YouTube is called, it's not new, but I feel like nobody's recommended it yet, so I would talk about it. It's called You Suck at Cooking, and it's really fun. It's so basically this guy teaches you cool recipes, but it's just hilarious. The stuff is called Sandwich of Justice.
Okay.
And how to make breakup pasta. It is amazing. So I'll tell you.
Amazing.
Yeah, breakup pasta is super fun because he's basically, you don't see the guy. It's his POV while he's making food. You see his hands and you see the kind of stuff he's doing, but not his face. So breakup pasta is basically normal pasta, but with a chit under the pasta that says, "Hey, we should break up."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then you don't put salt in it because you just use your tears. So, yeah.
This is
make it salty. Yeah, but it's a really fun channel, and they have a really
But then at the end of the video, he does prepare, but
you cannot. It's not a recipe that you would want to try at
yourself.
Because he uses a bunch of shit. But I don't know. This guy stays in a very cool neighborhood and he has a nice dog. And in the end of every video, they just sing along and they go running. It's kind of, it's really fun.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so it's called You Suck at Cooking. It's a YouTube channel. Check it out. And we should take a break now, guys. What do you think, Alika? Yeah?
If she says no, we don't take one.
Yeah. Alika, your word matters the most. Alika says yes, so we're going to take a break, but we come right back with the second round of this show. See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to attempt number 15 to record the promo for the podcast Vartalab.
All day, all night, Vartalab.
Oh yeah. It's a really nice podcast, guys. It's with me and Naveen, and it has really nice stories.
Yeah, people come tell their stories, ups and downs, fun times. We all cry at the end. It's like a Karan Joy movie, but in 1 hour or less.
Yay.
Yeah, every Monday. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back after the break. We are joined by the lovely Gaurav. Gaurav, say hi.
Hi guys.
Thank you.
It's a lovely Gaurav.
It's a lovely Gaurav.
Sachin, what are you doing in the studio?
Alright, moving on to what we're talking about. We're talking about the strong female characters in animation, and I feel like the world of animation is full of women who kick ass all the time. So we are going to talk about some of our favorite strong female characters.
Yeah, and actually I just want to point out now, since that San Diego Comic Con has been this weekend, there have been some really cool announcements of new female-led cartoon shows. In case anybody is interested, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power are back in a new form, and it looks great. The
Surbhi has no idea who she is. Do you?
I know
Of
she.
course
I
she
eat it
knows.
with
Okay.
poha all the time. Guys, can we not
Oh,
write
acha.
Sheena poha jokes? Sorry, it was right there. I had to take this opportunity.
Wow.
Right.
Anyways, the character design is great and everything looks really cool. Also, we have Marvel Rising, which is a predominantly female-led team in Marvel animation, comprising of Squirrel Girl, Ghost Spider, Kamala Khan, and I don't know, somebody else I've forgotten. Sorry, whoever I've forgotten.
Spider-Gwen.
No,
you
that's
mentioned
Ghost
that.
Spider.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I've forgotten who else. Anyways, so this is a really exciting trend of having new female-led animation series coming up, and they all look really good. The animation
That's
looks
really good.
fantastic, and the characters look fantastic too.
Who are your favorite characters from the animation? Like,
Oh
in
man, I have so many because like I watch a lot of cartoons, people.
Yep.
Lot. So I'm going to just like let me first start by asking you guys, what do you think is a strong female character? What is your definition of that?
Okay, I feel like my definition is now, since I've seen a lot of Ghibli, or how you say it, Ghibli movies,
Yeah.
and the first movie I saw was Spirited Away, and I feel like how they portray their female characters is very different from like a Disney movie. Like Moana, for example, she's strong or whatever, but like she's portrayed in a very manly kind of a strong way. Like she like wrestle people, and that's how you show that, oh, she's strong. But with like this character from the Spirited Away movie, she was just, I don't know, like she knew what to do. Like she was, that's a different kind of strong. So I feel
Yeah.
like the Ghibli kind of a a character is what what I find is stronger.
Yeah, so I obviously like a lot of studios and people seem to tend to think that strong female characters usually mean physically strong, people who can kick ass and who take no shit, which is great, which is also a type of strong, but that's a very like you're saying, it's a very masculine type of strong.
Yeah.
It leans very heavily into the to be considered a strong person, a strong character, you have to be, you have to display
yeah.
masculine traits.
That's true.
There are other types of strength and things like that. I mean, there is emotional strength,
Yeah.
and intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah.
So these are things which also I feel consist of making a character strong. And we use this term strong female character mostly because in the past we've had a lot of characters who don't, who especially females who are kind of one-dimensional in their portrayal.
yeah.
So making it a strong character is just saying like they're multi-dimensional. They have many facets to them.
But actually, can you tell me some female characters, at least today, in cartoons, any cartoon,
Yeah.
where females are not portrayed as strong? Because I'm trying to think of one where female characters are not portrayed as strong, and it's very difficult for me to come up with a name right now.
No, but
not
I mean, that's the good sign, right? That
It's good, it's good. I'm
Times
just saying.
have changed, so which is why now creators
Yeah.
make it a point that women are not one-dimensional or damsels in distress, and they
Yeah.
actively participate in whatever the
Like, for example, in
story
Rick and
structure
Morty,
is.
they've literally reversed the damsel in distress thing. I mean, sure, the protagonist is kind of a male chauvinistic pig, like Ricky is kind of an ass. But, I mean, he's an ass to everyone regardless of your gender. And the damsel in distress is Jerry, the husband.
Okay. I haven't
of
seen
his
Rick and
daughter.
Morty, so I can't
Okay,
comment
it's
on that.
fantastic. But I mean, I love how they're doing that also, because when I think about strength, all right, the only time you actually get to see strength is when there is some kind of force against you. That is when strength is actually like shown. Like you don't know a person is smart until they have a difficult problem to solve.
Right.
And there are like the thing about having female characters in the main role. I love seeing like how they are portrayed, because they are actually given a lot of challenges and it's always stacked up against them.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if a female is in a damsel in distress kind of situation, if she can get herself out, or whatever, that is what they're trying to really show. Like, for example, Incredibles 2, Elastigwoman.
Elastigirl.
Sorry, Elastigirl.
Yeah.
I just loved her transformation from the first one to the second one. If you
Yeah.
notice that movie, the best characters in that are all female.
Yeah.
The villain, the hero, the person who makes the suits. What's her name?
Yeah.
Edna.
Edna. Yeah. Oh my God, I love Edna.
Exactly, and they're like portrayed as people with power, with influence. And I think that's the kind of strength that people can relate to, I think, male or female.
I feel like you were just asking this question about cartoons that do not have like a strong female character. I know, but do you remember this woman from Mojo Jojo? No, sorry, Powerpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls,
Yeah.
Sarah Bellum. Basically, this character who you would only see her torso and not a face.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it because if it's not a well-rounded female character, so we're not talking about her at all. So we don't know if she's like,
No, but that was an authoritative character. When you don't see someone's face and only get through by their body language. They did it in Tom and Jerry all the time.
Yeah, that makes
where the
sense,
owner was never shown the face.
Yeah.
They even did it in E.T., where the first half of E.T., all adults are only seen waist down because that's the kid's eye level.
Also looks like a giant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like,
Authoritative figure. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a trick to show authority.
Wow, that's
So
great.
it's a strong female character, yes, but is it it's more authoritative than strong. in the sense that we're discussing, I think. Yeah.
What do you think about? Do you have any female?
I
strong
do.
characters?
So Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons, I think, is a very
okay.
strong female character because
Really?
she's the one sensible one in that family.
What about her mother?
Marge Simpson is too jaded with being the American housewife. She is jaded raising her kids, dealing with an idiot of a husband.
Right.
So she signifies the woman who's kind of given up on her hopes and dreams. And Lisa Simpson is the exact opposite. She sees her future is bright, and not only wants to do herself good, she wants good for everybody, which is why she's been portrayed as a future president innumerable times in The Simpsons.
This is the future all liberals hope for.
Exactly, and which has gone down in the dumps from an American perspective. But yeah, Lisa Simpson, often she's the one who sticks by her ideals and gets her way eventually. But more often than not, what she realizes is that it takes a lot of patience and endurance. And the kind of shit she has to deal with. She has to deal with an idiot, a horrible brother, a completely clueless and American dad. So things are never going Lisa Simpson's way, but she endures and sticks by her guns. And more often than not, I think Lisa's the heart of the show, I think, where the audience's heart goes out to her. The rest of the characters we're laughing at or laughing with, but Lisa's the one we root for. So I think Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons definitely comes across as a strong female
You know what?
character.
This reminds me of a show where females are not in the spotlight.
Family Guy?
Yeah. Because Lisa reminded me of Meg, and I'm like, Meg, oh my god. But in a way, it's a very sick, twisted way. I might get a lot of hate for saying this.
From the people here.
From everywhere. I mean, if you think about it, what are we all striving for today outside in the world? Equality.
Right.
Right? If you put a guy up on a pedestal, no one really cares. They're like, okay, yeah, fine, good, he's a hero. He's a hero. Okay, you put a woman on the pedestal, people are like, great, she's the hero. Yeah? You put a guy in a damsel in distress position, or as a stupid guy, or as a joke character, like, yeah, fine, he's a joke character, he's dumb, he's a stupid guy. But if you put a woman in the same place, it's like, oh, you're defaming women. Oh, what is this? Women, empower them. Why are you putting them in such roles?
That's because
Right?
we've had a very long history
Exactly.
of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Context
I'm
is
sure.
everything.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like, I'm saying but if you take, but the thing is, Family
You see,
Guy.
they do a great job of this in the Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer.
Yeah.
Where,
Oh, I saw the trailer.
I forget the name of the character, but the one Sarah Silverman portrays the kid.
Yeah, the kid.
Vanellope. Is that her
Was
name?
that her name? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but she comes and like all the Disney
she gets
princesses
stuck with the
in
Disney
room.
princesses, and she's like, I'm a princess too, because she's there. And all the princesses ask her, did someone poison you? Were you put to sleep for years? And she's answering no to everything. And then finally they ask, are all your problems saved when a big strong man shows up? And she's like, yes, you are a princess, So in that one scene, they've kind of exposed the history of
Disney princesses.
Being
Right,
the damsels in distress, and the stories are about them. Cinderella is about Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty is about Sleeping Beauty, but how does the story get resolved? When
Through
some
a
knight
man,
in shining armor comes
Comes
and
and-
saves her.
That's going to be a great movie. I'm really looking forward to that movie since I have that trailer.
Yeah.
Alika, what are your favorite female characters?
I like characters who are very inherently flawed and who have to overcome their flaws. I don't really I like my characters to have good strengths and also great weaknesses.
Are you saying I like my characters like I like my coffee?
I don't like coffee.
Okay, yeah.
But okay, so
like,
I
for
watch,
example, that movie Brave. Like, have you watched?
Yes,
that?
I have watched Brave. That's a really good movie for that because it's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, she has to overcome her absolute stubbornness with her parents, and has to let go of some amount of her pride to get further in the story to resolve that conflict, which is a very interesting thing. Now, I watch a lot of action cartoons because that's my jam. So I in shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Voltron and things like that, there are a plethora of female characters who have both really good strengths and really profound weaknesses. So, one of my favorite characters from Avatar is this character called Toph. And she is an earthbender, basically. That means she can control earthen elements. And she is super strong in not in a masculine way, but because her bending powers are great, that she's strong in that way. She is also incredibly stubborn, incredibly bullheaded, refuses to listen to people, goes off and causes all her, all sorts of problems. But it's a very long arc, but you do see her learning that there are consequences to these sort of things, and you have to work together in a group. You can't just be off on your own like a lone wolf. That's not a good way of surviving. It is problematic. And then as she goes on and on traveling with this group of misfits, you learn how to overcome these things, and it's a journey of self-discovery, and at the end she turns out to be an amazing character.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler alert.
Also, I have to point out
they're all nice characters.
Also, I have to point out she is completely blind, which is amazing.
Wow, this was I didn't
Avatar:
think.
Last Airbender reminded me of Legend of Korra, and I don't know. I don't know how I didn't think of that. So there's a sequel series to that to Avatar: The Last Airbender called Legend of Korra, where the central character is a girl named Korra, and she's also a really good, fantastic character.
But for girls to be in a position of strength, or powerful women or something, do they have to be the main character or the hero?
No,
not necessarily.
really.
Lisa is not a main character.
So in Avatar: The Last Airbender, she is not even in the top 3 of the main character. She's number 4.
Do you guys remember the show called Recess?
Yes.
So they're a bunch of kids who basically play during recess, and they have this whole gang of 5 people. And my favorite character from that show is Gretchen Grundler. That's her name.
Ooh.
She's she's not the typical definition of strong. She's just really smart, and she's so smart. One time in an episode, she hacked into NASA's database, and it was crazy. And for a 4th grader, it just feels
Casually 4th grader hacking on NASA during recess.
And so and she does have a lot of episodes dedicated to her. She's during the entire show, you can say there were 5 episodes based around her. So she wasn't the main character, but every episode, she would make a mark.
Yeah.
And she was apparently not even the most intelligent girl in the school, but the most intelligent girl in the town. She's very smart.
I had friends like this.
So Gretchen Grundler was a strong female character, I think, just because she was so smart.
Yeah. I also really enjoy it when writers of these shows show to the people who are watching that there are several different types of strength within the same show.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know if you guys have seen Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Super good show.
You seen that?
The 2 main female characters are Starfire and Raven. Extraordinarily different.
I love Raven.
Starfire is this cheerful, outgoing, bubbly extrovert, and Raven is a quietest, very goth introvert, which is very much like me. And the way they have their powers is very different, because Starfire's powers rely very heavily on her emotions. So being emotional is a very important source of strength for her, and that has always been celebrated. Raven's powers rely very heavily on her being in control, which is why she never shows her emotions. That is also shown as a very great point of strength, because that is how she fuels her powers, which are pretty much amazing. So I like it when showrunners make a conscious effort to show that this is one type of strength and this is another type of strength, and both are 100% valid.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, this has been a great discussion. I feel like we are, the world of animation is full of really good, well-rounded characters.
Yeah.
So
and there are more coming up, which is great.
They're coming up. Yes.
You
that's
can't really have a
interesting.
good show anymore without a strong female character.
Again, I mean,
I
that's
can't think of one proper show, not a satirical comedy where there is blatant racism and sexism, but like an actual proper show with any kind of arc in it. I challenge you guys to name me one which doesn't have a strong female character anymore.
Yeah.
Is your plan so that we say it and then you call us out on our sexism?
Yeah.
Be like, hey.
No. I'm curious.
No, but that's that's a great thing because
it is fantastic.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think it's. I'm very, very happy to see animators and writers actually putting these things in, because this is cartoons kind of shape up the next generation all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very confident in the fact that our next generation of whoever's watching cartoons right now, they're going to be much more well-rounded, holistic people. So guys, watch more cartoons.
Yeah.
Even if you're an adult.
Do that. It's been great. This was a great episode. Thank you for coming in, Abbas. Where can we reach out to you?
You can find me on Twitter at Abbas Momin, and you can find me on Instagram at AbbasMomin88.
Alika?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CapeFoxAlex.
Gaurav?
You can find me on Instagram at Aya_G. You can also find me on Twitter at Gaurav_Aya, but I'm an egg over there, so don't. Yeah,
don't even bother.
Don't act in.
don't bother that.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @SmallTalkPolice and on Instagram at @SurbiBaga. And you can follow IVM Podcast, guys, and check out all our other podcasts. Yeah, IVMPodcast.com. That's it. See you next time. Bye.
Shunyavan, 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 Shunyavan.
$1 billion acquisition. Another copycat startup got formed.
No, the tech world in India is surely moving double the speed of this voiceover.
Tune in to Shunya One every Tuesday to catch us talking to the smartest people we know on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Did I just catch you on your way to work? Or did you end up pulling an all-nighter? Let me guess. You have a packed schedule for the day, the week, and probably the month and the year. That's a lot for your mind to handle, don't you think? This buzzing chaos also brings tons of negative thoughts. Am I right? Try spinning that bottle in a positive direction with me, Chetna, on the Positively Unlimited podcast, every Monday on IBM Podcasts. It's time to change your life one alphabet at a time.